Hi, everyone. Welcome to Project Pro's podcast where we focus on Gen AI use cases. We have it with us Ashutosh today. Ashutosh has almost 7, 8 years of experience in data science and machine learning. He's currently working on Gen AI products at Siemens, focused on energy use cases. Before that, he was at BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, focused on NLP use cases. Ashutosh, thank you so much for taking time to join us today.
Thanks, Binny, for having me this opportunity. It's always pleasure to speak to you.
Awesome. So it'll be great to begin with, Ashutosh, if you could let us understand what is kind of unique about the energy industry that you kind of focus on when it comes to use cases or problems that you're trying to solve.
So for now, I'm mostly focused on the energy industry,
Yeah.
but problems around generation, transmission, and equipment design,
Hmm.
which is specifically for the energy sector, and also something around renewable energy and sustainability. So
Hmm.
this is my current energy or energy business portfolio. While in BCG and PwC, I have worked on other industries from the BFSI sector or from the HR sector.
Hmm.
But for now, it's more around the core engineering sector.
Understood. And
Yeah.
in these problems that you mentioned, which is generation, transmission, sustainability, what kind of specific use cases are you beginning to see in the energy industry? Because we always hear about chatbots and things like that, but I'm sure you see very different use cases in your space. It'll be helpful to understand that.
Yeah, for if I speak about chatbots, so chatbots is just a medium, or I'd say platforms through which we can do multiple tasks. It may be very complex task to such as assisting an engineer, assisting a civil engineer, assisting a mechanical engineer in building turbines, or maintenance or doing some maintenance. That all can be done through a chatbot, but inside the chatbot or in the back end of the chatbot, what's going on? That's the crux of the matter, and that's where the generative AI helps. So for us who are building generative AI products, chatbot is a great medium to communicate to our consumers, because consumers will always want some natural language based platform where they can
Mhm.
ask questions in their own language, and that question should interpret and give the right answer. So
Mhm.
it's a medium, and other mediums could be dashboards, or or could be some web based applications where you tweak around with the parameters and get a desired result. But for the when the generative AI push was there since the 2022, I'd say, uh, or 2023 beginning,
Mhm.
the chatbots have gained a great experience, because users have to, like in traditional machine learning earlier, we used to change a lot of parameters, and then we
Mhm.
used to get a desired result. But
Mhm.
in generative AI thing, you just give everything in your own language, no need to
Yeah.
be very specific or use some jargons, and the answer will be pretty accurate.
Mhm.
So that's the thing about chatbot on generative AI.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ashutosh, which is you kind of differentiating between the user interface layer of a chatbot versus the underlying the computational intelligence, which is powered by the LLMs. That makes a lot of sense. So using these chatbots and these very powerful LLMs that you're seeing, what kind of specific problems is the energy industry looking to solve? If there's anything you can talk about that you are focusing on, that'll be very helpful as well.
So for now, it's still
Hmm.
picking up the pace, or it's a starting point. We are at step zero, I'll say step 0.5,
Hmm.
but the potential we see in the future is large. But even though, because at the step zero, we have still realized the power of LLMs or generative AI.
Hmm.
So for now, if I talk about some of the use cases,
Hmm.
the first one is in energy industries, where like Siemens or Schneider Electric or General Electric, they are having lots of government projects with very specific details, and those details are very technical.
Hmm.
I mean, like documents, those contract documents are like 11,000, 12,000 pages long.
Hmm.
So in terms of document intelligence, gathering the right contract, getting the right contract, reading through all the document, getting the right amount of right kind of data from that
Hmm.
contract, Suppose if an engineer who don't want to read the 11,000 page long contract, he just
Mhm,
want to know the what in the contract, what is the specification of
mhm,
turbine and what are the mitigation procedures
mhm,
if the turbine fails, which is
mhm,
allowed or which is green flagged.
mhm.
So he don't have to go and read entire document. The generative AI will go, and the LLM based models will go and search those kind of chunks from the data and give the answer in the way he wants, and or
Mhm.
in the way that the engineer would understand. It's not
Yeah.
just go and just fetch the data which is written. As you know, the
Mhm,
contracts, maybe it's an insurance contract or a
mhm,
energy contract, all are
mhm.
very very complex to read for
Yeah.
for a common person like us. So you have to just tune the system message. So
Yeah.
suppose it is built for an engineer, it would
Mhm,
answer in the same fashion what engineer would think, or a salesperson or a business person, it would answer
mhm,
in the same fashion. So
mhm.
that kind of use cases, which is typically called RAG, retrieval augmented generation,
Mhm.
RAG based applications, which
Yeah.
currently the companies are focused on. The
Mhm,
other could be one of the major use case is around images. So
mhm.
Vision GPT came this year itself. So going through the images and like in all these energy industries, what they do single line diagrams of the whole power plant or maybe the whole grid.
Yeah.
They will prepare that.
Mhm,
So generative AI, and it's a very tedious task to prepare
mhm,
a single line diagram. It takes months to prepare and lots of manpower and lots of pre-thinking and brainstormings.
mhm.
So generative AI has been very helpful, or it's the potential of it is being in helping the electrical engineers or civil engineers is enormous in the way
Mhm.
that it can go and scan through the images through its training data. Suppose
Yeah.
the large number of training data has been passed to the
Mhm,
regarding single line diagrams to the
mhm.
model, and model will go and say to the engineers that okay, your single line diagram is right, but this is where there should be a current transformer. You have placed just an inductor.
Mm.
So these
Got it.
kind of capabilities they are having in terms of image.
Mhm.
So and also the third I would say about, you might have heard a lot, agents, generative AI agents.
Yeah.
So lots of focused tasks such as
Mhm.
engineers would do lots of complex calculation which involves reasoning as well. The
Yeah.
pump pressure is this, the temperature is this, everything is this,
Yeah.
tell me how much time it will take to failure, and in case of failure what's the standard operating procedure to handle it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
generative AI will all calculate these using the traditional machine learning in the backend
Yeah.
and give the recommendation as well, like okay, this is
Mhm,
the standard operating procedure you should follow if in case it fails.
mhm.
So these kind of applications we are using in the energy industry for now.
Okay, I mean that's very interesting, Ashutosh, for sharing that. I mean, these are kind of very different from the other use cases that we usually hear that cuts across other industries. So that is very helpful. One follow-up question I had was that when you pick up these use cases to solve with the language models, how were these being solved before? Was it rule-based systems? Was it manual? Was it some NLP algorithms that were being used? What was before this?
So before generative AI, it was a combination of traditional machine learning, all those machine learning models,
Mhm.
and very close in very close collaboration with electrical engineers. So
Mm.
as I said, it used to take, like for single line diagram earlier, which I said, it used to take months to prepare
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
with the help of these electrical engineers and
Yeah.
traditional machine learning. So
Hmm.
uh, uh, right now the scenario has changed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Got it. And as you go about designing these problems and solving them, what kind of models do you focus on? Do you by default go towards managed services like OpenAI, or do you use open source models out there? How do you make that decision?
Of course, I mean, like LLMs, building entire LLM is very difficult
Yeah.
for every company. Like there
Yeah.
are only a couple of LLMs in the open market, maybe
Hmm.
OpenAI or Mistral or Llama. So not much of the options
Yeah.
because that's again a very a focused task, and
Yeah.
so we are more focused on building solutions which would help our
Hmm.
engineers,
Hmm.
not on the building LLM models, but we do
Hmm.
fine tuning. We do fine tuning the mode because LLM models may not be trained on our data set or may not have seen our kind of data set,
Hmm.
but so that we do a fine tune on that, maybe
Hmm.
with a 1,000 sets or 2,000, 5,000 sets, but
Yeah.
we don't build entire LLMs.
Yeah. Understood. Got it. And you spoke about some very specific use cases in the energy sector. But if you could maybe step back a little bit and help us understand what would be the potential impact of Gen AI on kind of efficiency and sustainability or even renewability in the energy sector. What do you think we should hope to see over the next few years? And in a way, the energy sector is kind of also linked to the Gen AI sector because it's such a huge consumption of energy to run the GPUs. But if you could help us understand that, it'll be very helpful.
Of course, so there is a trade-off. I mean, on one side, LLMs would save time and efforts, and
Right.
in terms of that, which would translate in saving some of the emissions.
Yeah.
But on the other side, when it is running,
Hmm.
it's a very high power consuming system.
Yeah.
So and that's there. But I just as I think it's a just a starting off period, but.
Hmm.
The 2023, this Dubai COP28 meeting, uh,
Hmm.
Gen AI was one of the things which or artificial intelligence as an umbrella was one of the things where countries pledged to take help in order to reach to their 2050 net zero target.
Hmm.
So the Gen AI has a lot of potential in achieving the sustainable projects because of the speed of efficiency and because of less manpower involved. Like in many use cases, we have seen like we are seeing in future
Yeah.
workers would be reduced to worker size would be cut. The processes would be extremely fast.
Hmm.
Again, there is a concept called Industry 4.5 earlier, like which is fusion of generative AI with Industry 4.0. So
Hmm.
Fusion 4.0. So that is that will accelerate the execution process. That will also help us in reducing the wastages because
Hmm.
generative has a tremendous capability to track and give reports and again deployments of generative AI based models in every devices, every edge devices.
Yeah.
There is also a thing called quantum computing which is coming. So
Hmm.
you said like GPUs are getting lots of power consumption, but
Yeah.
in future we see like by quantization the power
Hmm.
consumption will be a lot less and the speed will be faster. And
Hmm.
with the help of edge AI, it will be deployed across platforms, maybe our
Hmm.
smartwatches, the iPads, our mobile phone apps. So this is the future which I see.
Very, very interesting. So quantum computing to reduce the reliance on GPUs and edge deployment of these models, maybe even smaller models to kind of boost adoption of language models. Okay, that's very helpful. And while realizing this vision right now as a Gen AI product manager, Ashutosh, what are your top two or three burning problems or challenges that you face in your role that you wish that somebody solved for you?
I mean, in an energy industry, it's dominated by core engineers.
Hmm.
Like 80-90% of people are from the core, electrical core, civil and core mechanical engineers.
Yeah.
So uh, the mindset shift is one of the big challenge which I see uh,
Mm,
towards the generative AI because generative AI based applications are typically built on speed, and the company or any of the market leader is someone who has launched the first thing like OpenAI. They
mm,
launched it first and they are the market leader. So similarly, but the speed is pretty slow in energy industry, the speed of mindset shift. So we find very difficult in terms of aligning the core engineers to our
mm,
side
mm,
to make them understand like this is going to help you in long run. So one is that problem.
mhm,
Second would be in terms of technology. So as
mm,
you see, right now the LLM models are hallucinating a lot. It's not very perfect.
mhm,
So technology is still not 100% trustable.
Mm-hmm.
So to build trust, I think maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe GPT-6 would be the way to go, where the hallucinations will be very less. Because for some of the cases, like fault detection or some kind of bias detection or error detection, which is very critical, maybe
Mm-hmm.
generative AI could fail in 1 or 2 instances, but that may cost a lot for the
Right.
system.
Right.
Maybe it failed to detect a failure in turbine, and
Mm.
that would incur a loss of millions. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that trust will take some time to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, I think one major part every company is facing is fail to move to production. Lots of POCs are being built in generative AI, but a couple of them would reach to the production stage. That are my top three challenges for which I foresee in generative AI.
Okay. 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 Very helpful. So mindset of core engineers, trust in the situation of hallucinations, and just production to POC ratio of models. And from your experience, Ashutosh, what is the difference between those use cases that eventually go into production versus those that stay at POC? Why do those things don't go into production? What's the difference?
Uh, the difference comes around, I'd say funding, of course,
Mm,
because lots of leaders are not willing to uh, put their money on these extended, because this is like exploratory projects.
yeah.
It may fail, it may pass. So
Mm,
the risk appetite is not that much. I
yeah.
mean, for some of the core companies, I think in
Hmm.
startups it's more, but for some established MNCs,
Hmm.
they will go with some systems which is well established,
Hmm.
or which is well trusted. So
Hmm.
that's the thing of one about the funding, and about
Hmm.
also the lack of skilled resources in generative AI based thing, because these
Yeah.
days what I see, very small courses are being run on generative AI,
Yeah.
which and people from any background can come and get those courses, and
Yeah.
they work as a generative AI engineer. But the foundation, which is data science, generative AI
Mm,
also built on that foundation. So that is
mhm,
very weak.
mhm,
So when they get into some conflicting situations, or when into some tough situations, it hinders.
mhm,
So also there is one mind shift, I'd say, situation as well, because of the generative AI based applications. People see it as an extension of the
mhm,
existing application, or
mhm,
plugin of an existing application.
mhm,
So that but well, if you want to deploy that, we need to
mhm,
have a full-fledged base software team for that,
mhm,
not an extension of a current product. So what
mhm,
happens is, we don't devote our full resources to that. So
mhm.
uh, the pressure to make it success also, also less, because it's an extended version of that existing product. Even if it fails, our base product is good, it's fine,
Right.
people will not push much. But
Right.
if it is projected as a standalone project, the push will be more. So
Yeah.
those kind of organizational or bureaucratic challenges
That makes a
keeps
lot
it
of
away.
sense. That
Yeah,
makes a lot of sense, which is to make Gen AI solutions successful, you're saying you have to build those solutions from a first principles, bottoms up approach, rather than adding that as some new layer over a current solution out there, right?
of course. Yeah,
So in your industry specifically, Ashutosh, energy, right? There's a lot of concerns over privacy, security, environmental impact, and things like that, which is probably one of the reasons why senior leaders are very hesitant and risk averse. How do you think one should go about solving those challenges in the energy industry?
so I think the trainings should happen more,
Hmm.
like every because everyone is using some kind of chat GPT or some kind of Bing or something right now.
Yeah.
So everyone is familiar, one or two cent, with the generative AI. So
Yeah.
trainings would be much around, if so that they are not losing or leaking the data.
Hmm.
Also, I think there are some of the companies which has done mandatory generative AI training for every of their employee, even if he's a tester or a software developer or a product manager. They will
Hmm.
everyone should know the ethics of AI and
Hmm.
responsible AI, because
Hmm.
in future, like generative AI is going to impact everyone, and everyone would use that
Hmm.
technology in some form or other. So
Hmm.
that is one part where I think companies are doing, and I still need to do more in
Hmm.
terms of responsible AI. And also, when I say we, this tools and methods, like lots of tools are right now there which can help us in giving us pop-ups or signals that okay, this is the data is leaking, the data is not this way, it's not safe to go. So those methods and those standard operating procedures in the industry.
Yeah.
So in energy industry, this data is also one of the data confidentiality is very, very important. So we have
Correct.
like a standard operating procedure for everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that we have to keep in mind. So that
Hmm.
policy or that governance based thing is also very important. So in our Siemens Energy, they have built a separate generative AI governance based unit. So their
Okay.
whole role is around responsible AI and ethics. So
Uh-huh.
and for every project, people from that team would come and they have to be involved as part of the project. So
Hmm.
uh, this is one way I think that where the companies which are more concerned about the data should think about. So
Hmm.
that also, human plus AI, you know uh, coordination, like these days, this is much in news and much in talks. Like people are saying okay, AI is one thing, but we need to have a couple of people on board
Yeah.
to, and there should be a no confrontation between human and artificial intelligence, rather than collaboration. So
Right.
if human and AI both are at the same page, aligned each other, so I think ethics will also follow the same way. So
Hmm.
those things I think companies are taking care of to ensure that this is a responsible AI.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that is very helpful. What you just said, having a separate team focused on ethics and responsible AI, and those team members basically are part of your AI project discussions every time you're building a new solution. Okay, and then just a final question, Ashutosh, which is when a company like Siemens or other companies you've worked with, you're beginning to staff people on AI projects. How does somebody start? How do they become part of your team or Gen AI team? Like one you mentioned, get some data science fundamentals. What else should they do to get there?
So I think in terms of the hard technical skills, I'd say the data science foundation and uh, uh, logical programming. So everything is now free. Even programming can be done by the AI. So they
Yeah.
should know the logic. That is one
Hmm.
part.
Hmm.
And the most important part right now for generative AI engineers or generative AI based careers, career options is the integration, like
Hmm.
end to end implementation of application. So everyone should know how the application is being developed, how it is being deployed. Also, these days, cloud is one of the things which everyone should know. Azure,
Yeah.
maybe AWS or GCP, whichever someone is comfortable with. But
Hmm.
because most of the things are being deployed, being run on the cloud, so those
Hmm.
things I think are way to go. Uh, with in coming years, I'd see people who are even not very good at one particular programming or something. If they know everything from a broad perspective,
Yeah.
they know the end-to-end step, they are also going to be successful, because the specialist jobs, like some hardcore programmers, they will all be done by AI in future. Like code LLM has been there, so you just write a basic program and
Yeah.
code LLM will make it to the very programmer Pythonic way. So
Right.
the understanding of the whole flow is very
Hmm.
important, and the cloud
Hmm.
knowledge. And
Hmm.
in terms of the other skills, I'd say the mindset shift should be there. The
Yeah.
person should be willing to take risk and
Hmm.
make project deploy as
Hmm.
fast as possible.
Yeah.
And also commitment to the project, taking risk. When I say is because everyone is not sure the project will pass or fail,
Right.
but that doesn't mean we should not take risk. So at
Hmm.
risk appetite should be there for generative AI projects, since that's very new field. So
Yeah.
those are some few points I'd say.
Mm. That's actually a very good point, which is you're saying that when you're building a, for example, a software project versus a Gen AI project, In a software project, things are pretty deterministic. So you know that if you do this, this will happen. So you are expecting that every
Mm.
project is successful. But in a Gen AI project, which is more probabilistic, you should say I'm going to invest in 5 projects, but one or two might work, and I should be okay with that budget
Yeah.
kind of mindset, right? Yeah, it's a very
Yeah,
good
of course.
maybe yeah
Of
maybe a
course.
whole new world of project management will show up because of this. That's a very good point.
Mm.
Ashutosh, one final question, which is, you talked about code LLM and how that is making developers more productive. In your own role as a machine learning engineer, if you take an end-to-end ML project, everything from data ingestion, storage, cleaning, sending it through an LLM, and then eventual deployment, like CI/CD, etc. What percentage of that have you seen in the last 1 year being taken over by code LLMs? And in which areas do you see code LLMs playing the most role in an end-to-end pipeline like that?
I've seen an end-to-end pipeline or MLOps pipeline,
Mm,
a like significant amount of things where the coding is required is almost taken by the code LLM, because we just write the logic and code LLMs will write the code for us.
mhm.
But connecting the pieces, like for LLMOps or MLOps, like data engines is one block. Again, data processing is another block. Applying models, machine learning models is one block. So block by block, the code, the if you go more into the granular level, the code
Yeah.
written in each block is taken is taken over by code LLM in my current situation. But
Mhm.
uh, the joining, or connecting those all, stacking those all blocks, that
Yeah.
still requires human touch. Even
Mhm.
the generative AI will say, like, you can build this flow, but that comes the solid or robust application thing, that generative AI based applications cannot, or chatbots cannot give. For that we need to have a human who is very
Yeah.
experienced. So that's why I
Mhm.
said the person should know the whole flow, how it operates, and know how to connect the pieces together.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Terrific, Ashutosh. Thank you so much. We, loved learning about the energy industry and Gen AI use cases there. Really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Thanks, Binny, for this great question answering session, and it was always pleasure. And it's amazing to you asked some questions so much in detail and touched many things about the energy industry. I think which will help our viewers in understanding the generative AI reach and where they can apply generative AI in their current scenario. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.